You work in water treatment, you talk to dozens and dozens of people, but if you don't have a system to follow up, it's as if you never met them. Okay? Especially if you go to trade fairs, especially if you have a showroom, imagine people entering the showroom, then they leave, and once they're gone, they're gone. So you've talked, or you've been to the trade fair, you've finished the fair, you've dismantled the stand, you've collected dozens and dozens of names, you've made yourself known, you've explained, you've demonstrated, you've convinced people, and now what? And now comes the part that makes the difference, which many people in the water treatment business actually don't know how to do well, okay? Because this is the moment when you make the difference between those who just showed up, so names that are not, let's say, qualified for what you're looking for, and those who are truly interested and therefore can actually be turned into a customer, okay? So when you have this whole list of names, you need a system to close these leads to move them forward, because without a system, the contacts, the leads, get cold. Then, the various urgent needs or problems they told you about, what they told you about why they would want a water dispenser or are interested, all those reasons just vanish, okay? The promises are left hanging, and the potential you had to close these people and turn them into customers vanishes. So if you rent or sell water treatment systems, you have to be aware that you are offering a product or a service that solves real problems, okay? But it's a somewhat complex product. Why? Because it has many technical aspects that need to be considered, okay? From the installation to the positioning, to the type of filtration, and so on and so forth. What does all this entail? It means that the decision-making cycle is very long for a user, from the moment they get interested in a water dispenser to when they actually decide to install it, okay? And often there are even multiple people involved, okay? So more people look at the quotes. Why? Because in a family, the wife talks to the husband and the children, and so on. The restaurant owner obviously talks to his partner, or he might show it to the waiters. So he wants to talk to the waiters to ask them what they think about having a water dispensing system rather than managing cases of water. Okay? So you always have these discussions. So it's important that this process is managed with a systemic approach, okay? Because if you let the customer wander on their own through all these decisions, all these variables, the customer will go elsewhere, okay? So you need a closing system. Let me give you an example. Often those in the water treatment business who maybe go to trade fairs, okay, for end users, create an email sequence that is dedicated especially to the days after the fair, so as soon as the fair ends. So imagine the fair ends, you have a list of contacts, and these contacts are put into an automated email sequence where on day one, so in email one, it's a personalized thank you email with maybe some technical information about the products. On day two, there's a video that demonstrates how the system works, or maybe a case study where a similar client, for example, if you have other restaurateurs, you show how other restaurateurs are benefiting from a dispensing system, from the water dispenser. And then we have day three, where a personalized offer is finally presented with, of course, a deadline and maybe some special benefits that are, let's say, available only in that offer, okay? And if you want to move forward, you can continue this, let's call it, follow-up process with the client, with a phone call, okay? To clarify any doubts or to propose an on-site inspection and so on and so forth. But what's the result of all this? The result of all this is that when the customers finish, when they leave the fair, you will be the first brand, okay, to appear before their eyes. So they will remember you exactly. They'll remember the words you exchanged, that they exchanged with you or with your sales team, okay? So you have intervened in your customers' decision-making process because you haven't let the customers decide on their own whether or not to go ahead with the installation of the system. But you guided them, okay? You guided them step by step with the right messages at the right times, and so this has helped you, okay? This can help you at least. But now you might be wondering how you can also create your own system for, let's say, following up with customers after a fair, but also after a showroom visit. On any occasion when you talk to a potential customer and when the conversation ends, it doesn't immediately turn into a signature because, they need to talk it over, they need to think about it, and so on and so forth. So the first rule is to segment the contacts immediately. So when you receive a significant flow of leads, segment them, okay? Try to understand who was very, very interested, who was moderately interested, and who was just curious, so not very interested, and you focus on the first two groups. Then you prepare a clear post-fair journey. So you need to know, okay, after the fair, an email will go out, or they will see this video, they will see this offer, a phone call will be made to explain things, or an on-site inspection will be proposed. The important thing is that everything must be planned beforehand and not improvised, okay? It shouldn't be, okay, I'm back at the office, I have my agents. Now each agent just goes to the client without notice, without an appointment. No, that doesn't work, okay? And if you can, create advantageous offers for these leads that have a deadline, a time limit to be, accepted. Now you need to understand this. When you create this urgency, it's called a limited advantage. A limited advantage is powerful because it creates urgency, okay? And often when people see they have an advantage that they might otherwise lose, they tend to act. By act, I mean they might call you, they might visit the showroom, depending on how you've set up your process. The other point is to get help from your sales agents or, from your team. Try to divide the work. You need to figure out who makes the calls, who sends the videos, who prepares the quotes, who follows up on site inspections, and so on and so forth. You see, you need organization, you need a workflow, okay? So you don't need just one person doing it all by themselves, because otherwise that person gets lost, gets confused, and what you need instead is a team. If you don't have a team, try to organize things in steps instead, okay? So that even you yourself, or if you have a small team, can follow the steps. Anyway, okay? Instead, if you have a sales team, a team of technicians, part of each, let's say, each piece of the process can easily be taught to the different teams, okay? This video is coming to an end. As always, subscribe to the Onnwater YouTube channel to learn more, let's say, other concepts that are, as you can see, on the commercial aspect of water treatment. Because the goal of this channel, I'll remind you, is to help those who work in water treatment to have a growing business, okay? And so I'm the first one who, being in water treatment, wants to share with you what I see in the market, what works, because I myself am in water treatment, and so I can be the voice of the many places I go, that I visit, and many events like this one. Right now we're talking and we're behind, you can see the Row Milan Fair. I see a lot of things and I'm keen to share them, because the water treatment sector is a growing sector, it's a profitable sector, but it must be approached in a specific way. And remember, click here on the bell so you'll receive notifications, and every time a video comes out, you'll be the first to be notified. Bye.